You ever get told that something you love is too dangerous to hold on to, yet your heart won't let go? That's where I was, 15 years to the day since I'd last laid eyes on him, Ranger. A bull, yes. But not just any bull. The kind of creature that somehow knew your thoughts before you even said them out loud. He wasn't just livestock to me. He was my anchor when the world didn't make sense, when I was 13 and grieving my mom and thought the sun might not rise again. That calf, abandoned by his dam, weak and trembling in the mud, somehow became the only thing tethering me to the earth. We raised each other, if that makes any sense. And yet here I was, 30 minutes outside of Crestwood, Wyoming, staring at the wrought iron gates of Crosswind Ranch, where Ranger still lived, only now as a fully grown, 2,000-pound breeding bull with a reputation. The new owner, Robert Sullivan, was already waiting by the gate when I pulled up. Dr. Hayes, he nodded. I'll be straight with you, this isn't a petting zoo, and that bull, he ain't the calf you remember. I smiled tight, not ready for a fight, but not backing down either. I'm not here for nostalgia, I said. I'm here for closure. Maybe connection, if he remembers me. Behind Robert stood Dr. Marcus Chun, the ranch vet, arms crossed, face skeptical. Even if he did, Marcus added, he's unpredictable. He's charged 4 handlers in the past year. One needed 32 stitches. Noted, I said, already walking toward the paddock. They followed close, probably ready to pull me back by the collar if things went sideways. But I wasn't walking in blindly. I'd studied animal behavior for years, earned my doctorate in bovine cognition, written papers most folks ignored. I knew what I was doing. Or at least I believed I did until I saw him. Ranger was massive now, black with streaks of gray along his ridge, his horns wider than I remembered, eyes sharp but distant. He didn't charge. He didn't move. He just watched. Quiet. Still. Like he was trying to place me in a fogged memory. I slipped through the gate and knelt in the dirt, maybe 30 feet away. No sudden moves. No calls of his name. I just sat, cross-legged, steady breath. Then I did what I used to do when he was a calf scared of thunder. I hummed. Just a soft lullaby my mama used to sing. Something simple. Something only 2 souls in that space would recognize. And I saw it. The flick of his ears. The tilt of his head. The kind of micro-movement you miss if you ain't really paying attention. His hooves shifted slow, deliberate. He took 1 step. Then another. Robert whispered, "You gotta be kidding me." Marcus looked like he forgot how to blink. Ranger approached me, chest rising and falling like he was holding back something ancient and heavy. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a Honeycrisp apple, his favorite from back when he was still small enough to fit in my lap. I held it out, arm steady. He sniffed, snorted. Then, without force or fanfare, he took it from my palm. Chewed slow. Never broke eye contact. I put my hand to his forehead. "Hey, buddy," I whispered. "You remember?" He didn't nod, of course. But he didn't walk away either. And that said everything. We stood there like that for a long time, him and me, surrounded by a world that never thought this moment could happen. I heard Robert say something about selling. Marcus muttered something about documenting this. I wasn't listening. All I could hear was Ranger's breath, slow and steady, like the beat of something sacred. Later that day, I sat in Robert's office. He leaned back in his leather chair, fingers steepled under his chin. "I'll be honest," he said. "I didn't think you'd survive that. I didn't come here to prove anything," I told him. "I came because something unfinished was still pulling at me." He nodded. "So what now?" "I want to relocate him," I said. "To Peaceful Meadow Sanctuary in Colorado. They have the space, the staff, the philosophy. He's done enough for this world. Let him rest." Robert raised an eyebrow. "You have the resources for that." "I do," I said and slid him a check. $1. He stared at it, smirked, and nodded. "Guess you've earned it." The transport day came fast. Ranger didn't like the ramp at first. He panicked halfway up, kicking the sides, snorting, trembling like a storm was coming. I climbed in, humming again, resting my hand on his flank. He settled. 8 hours later, we arrived at Peaceful Meadow. He stepped off that trailer like he owned the grass beneath him. No aggression. No fear. Just peace. Over the next 6 months, Ranger transformed. The staff called him a miracle. He helped calm traumatized horses, guarded newborn lambs, even comforted a rescue pit bull who wouldn't stop shaking. They called it the Ranger effect. I stayed longer than I'd planned. Volunteered. studied. Then one morning, I woke up to find Ranger lying beside a broken fence panel guarding a tiny, injured fawn like it was his own calf. That's when I knew this wasn't just my story. It was his too. We started documenting everything. Videos, data logs, behavioral tracking. Eventually, we presented at a national veterinary conference. The research caught fire. Grants poured in. Peaceful Meadow expanded. Ranger became the face of a new movement, one that said even the largest, most feared animals can carry the deepest gentleness. People came from all over. Survivors of trauma, combat vets, kids with autism. Ranger didn't do tricks. He didn't perform. He just was calm, patient, present. Like he'd figured something out the rest of us were still chasing. Marcus Chun, who'd come to visit. He shook his head watching Ranger nudge a blind alpaca toward the shade. I was wrong, he admitted. He's not dangerous. He's still dangerous, I smiled. But only if you assume strength can't also hold love. The years passed. Ranger got older, slower. But his spirit stayed the same. When he passed peacefully, under the open sky there wasn't a dry eye at the sanctuary. We buried him under the apple tree grove. Planted a Honeycrisp seedling at his grave. Called it Ranger's Rest. People still come there. To sit. To breathe. To remember. And every now and then, someone asks me, was it worth it? Going back when they all told you not to. I always smile and say the same thing. Some hearts don't forget. They just wait. So now I'll ask you, have you ever gone back to something everyone said was too far gone? Have you ever followed your gut, even when logic begged you not to? Let's talk about it in the comments, because sometimes the most powerful connections aren't the ones we create, they're the ones we're brave enough to return to.